When you look at the actual stories, the actual allegations,
What have they
that
accused him of?
itself is a falsity. There have been some that have accused of sexual assault, meaning sexual penetration or rape.
Right.
There have been some that accused him of grabbing their wrist strong or improperly. There have been some that have said, I was at a party and he bumped up against my breast improperly in 1976. There have been some that said, I was at a party and I think he put something in my drink and I either got away or I did.
How many have accused him of putting something in their drink or sexual assault of the 35?
Well, I think that they would all consider that to be a form of sexual assault.
Well,
I'm not trying to mince words. If you're grabbing but that's not rape. So when people say 35 people have...
Let's take rape off the table for a moment. All 35, I just want to be clear for our audience, all 35 have accused him of sexual assault.
No. Because,
how many
because
have?
Some have said that it wasn't even sexual. I can't even keep track of what the actual numbers are because you go through 50.
Let's say it's half, just for argument's sake. Let's say it's half. I believe the number is closer to the mid-20s, but let's say it's half. Let's just split the difference, right? 40 women come forward, 20 say he did it. Mm-hmm. Why, given the fact that according to FBI statistics, less than 2% of rape victims offer false claims, mm-hmm. and also given the fact that a relatively small fraction of actual rape victims come forward, mm-hmm. the odds statistically of all these women lying are relatively low. Some would argue infinitesimal.
I really love that you brought up that statistic and you brought up the study, because the variables that you would need in order for that study to apply to this case would be that you'd have to factor in a very wealthy person who's alleged as the perpetrator of the crime, and you would have to factor in things like prior relationship, and those are not a part of any of the current studies. You have to start asking things like, how many people of influence and means have been the victims of extortion attempts? How many women and men have been willing to offer up their bodies on a casting couch, have been willing to exchange sex for favors, have had remorse after doing so, and then accused someone who they believed they could get monetary gain out of and offered to sell a story. All you have to do is open up the rag magazines. You can go to any grocery store and see that the numbers, when you factor in the person who's the target, change. And I'm digging, of course, as an attorney, and I'm not seeing that variable included, because it's sort of obvious to me, if you look at the stories we've had over the past 20 years, that many people are willing to say many things in order to get
but
money.
Of all the people in Hollywood, of all the people who have millions and even billions of dollars, this doesn't happen to them. What is it about Bill Cosby that would have this number of women come forward? Hasn't happened to any. I mean, we haven't seen these other men. Even Mike Tyson. You know, we didn't see 46.
Somebody that it happened to.
No, but we didn't see 40 people come through or 35 people come through. The consistency of the story combined with the volume, combined with all these other factors, makes Bill Cosby's situation even unusual for people of his sort, does it not?
I think you should probably look at the source, and that's what I say. I say to people who are journalists or people who are transmitting the news and are actually interviewing people who are bringing accusations, that there are questions that should be asked. You should be asking, did you come forward on your own, or did someone seek you out? Did you come from a list? Were there plaintiffs' attorneys who were out looking for anyone who had any involvement with Bill Cosby in the past?
I spoke to three of them. Two of the three that I spoke to came forward on their own. They weren't asked to. One of the three wasn't even considering civil action. Two of the three didn't begin looking for civil action. And they said that they were afraid to come forward. They said they were afraid because of Bill Cosby's power, because of Bill Cosby's influence, because of the fear that they would be castigated in the media. And it's only now that there is a sort of critical mass of people that they felt safe coming forward.
Strength in numbers. Yeah. And I said, I was on News One, I guess it was day before yesterday, and one of the things that I said is that we have to remember, in terms of the allegations that would have been coming forward in the late 60s and the early 70s, that Bill Cosby was still then, as he is now, a black man in America. And I find it incredulous to believe that none of the majority white females who are saying that something was done to them that was inappropriate by an African American male in the late 60s and 70s, that none of them would have been believed. Because if we look back on our own history and see what was happening in those times, nothing could be further from the truth. As a matter of fact, he would have been target number one in those days, and I'd argue in these days. He would have been target number one then and is now. So it's hard for me personally, not speaking on behalf of Mr. Cosby, but speaking as someone who is a student of history, to think that 1, 2, 10, 20, however many women had allegations, had accusations, that they wouldn't have been heard or listened to, and that when they went to a friend or when they went to a confidant or when they went to a police department, that they wouldn't have been taken seriously enough in those days for it to at least have been investigated. I'm not saying whether that's true or not. I'm saying that based on what I know of our country and our country's history, and when we look back on the kinds of things that were being done then to African American males, that's hard to believe.
So if Bill Cosby had done it, basically you're saying if Bill Cosby had raped these white women would have had been fully empowered to put him in jail.
I'm not talking about whether white women would have been empowered or not. I'm not doing the if was a fifth thing. What I am saying is that...
You're saying if
no,
Bill Cosby,
what
if
I'm
they could have come
saying
forward.
is that I find it incredulous that no one would have believed them enough to at least check into the stories.
But you know, most rape victims don't come forward, whether it's intimate, particularly when they know the person. You do concede that point that most people, particularly when it's intimate partner sexual assault, as opposed to some guy in a ski mask in an alley, most of them don't come forward. Most of them don't talk to law enforcement. You can see that as a fact, right?
Those are the numbers, yes.
So then it would be entirely consistent with the numbers that people would not do that with Bill Cosby, right?
No, I don't think so, because like I said, the numbers, when you look at them, don't include any variables whatsoever. But my point, sitting back from it as the attorney, is this. Why is it in 2015, when what's being brought forward is outside of the bounds and the confines of the law, that what is appropriate conversation, what suits our appetite, what drives our media is to do with this story in the public what cannot be done in the court of law? Why don't we follow the dictates of our justice system? Because, listen, we're in this room right now.
Yeah.
There may be a green room here. We could take a picture in the green room after this. It could just be you and me and 3 assistants. I could wait 10, 20, 30 years. Wait until you've sold 20 books. You've been on however many speaking tours you're going to go on. You've made all your millions. And talk about this day.
Right.
And have my picture. And say that something inappropriate happened. And what I hear people saying is that when I come forward and do that, and it wouldn't be true because I don't think that you would do that, Mr. Hill. What I'm saying is that when I do that, what we have now is people saying, absolutely believe her. It doesn't matter that she waited 10 years or 20 years or 30 years or 40 years. She's 70 years old.
Let me ask you a question.
He's in his 60s.
But what if something did inappropriate happen and you did wait? Should you remain silent because you didn't say it in the moment?
People have a right to say whatever they want to say. I'm not saying that anyone has a right to
But it's
be
almost
muzzled.
as if you're saying they've waited too long.
They've waited too long to do anything about it in the justice system.
But what if they've been raped? Shouldn't they be able, as rape victims, to say we've been raped, even if they can't get...
The fact of the matter is people are free to say whatever they want to say. And I, because I'm a justice system believer, believe in everyone's right to say it. They can say whatever their truth is. They can bring whatever their accusation is. They can face whatever legal consequences they're going to face if what they're saying is false. And Mr. Cosby or anyone who's accused, if it was you 30 years from now, you would have a right to vigorously defend yourself.
Absolutely.
I'm surprised, even shocked, as you said with your opening question. Some people are saying, but why would you do this? And I'm like, well, I'm a lawyer. And I believe in the justice system.